Actually, if you all do feel inclined out there in virtual world, I would love to, just a brief intro of, just who you are. And yeah, I just love when I'm sharing to actually be able to see some faces or just know who I'm talking to, because sometimes it's a little weird talking to black tiles. Especially when we're doing, traditional storytelling and things like that. No pressure. If you want to pass, just say pass. I don't know. Like everybody says, like for the teachings and stuff, I'm just here to share a little bit of what I learned along, I don't know, my path, my journey. As I think all of us can say, I always tell my partner this, but like life is a trip, and I wasn't expecting, to have to go through and what I experienced at a young age, and also what I experienced coming into adulthood, and the gifts and the trials that came with that. And I want to acknowledge FOPT and the tobacco that they did pass. You passed that tobacco in a good way, and when they passed the tobacco, I had a choice. And choice is so important. Choice is everything. Oh, hold up. No, hold up. Pump the brakes. Oh, Jimbo's got the gift of gab. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You're good. You're good. I was just taking it all in.
He got me. We learn anything today, it's going to be. I know a lot of people are in school, and yeah, it's all coming to a close. So congratulations to everybody for finishing that year, but even if it was that term in school. All right, let's get back to it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I remember now. I had a choice. I could either take the tobacco and or I could refuse the tobacco. I could refuse it in a nice, respectful way. You say, I would put two fingers up, and that would say no. And I don't know, the way that in Western context, and I guess this is from colonization, and we live in a colony, we're raised in one, we're geared towards that. But sometimes when people say no to something, it's so bad. It's like ooh, you're not a good person. You're being selfish. And that's not the way that I was raised. It's not the way that the old people taught me. For somebody to question your choice, that's kind of disrespectful. If somebody is being very judgmental to my choice, you know what? That's not very loving. There's no courage there. It lacks wisdom. Are you going to ask the question, why did you refuse? There's no wisdom there. There's no respect. So I have that choice, and it's mine to make. And it's a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing to have the gift of choice. And that's what I say. If you accept it, okay, you need to do the task. What was asked of you? If you say no, then you know what? Something else in your life, in your path at that time, brought you to that conscious decision, and your heart, your spirit felt, no, not right now. And I remember the old people telling me, choice, it's such a wonderful thing. And don't forget that. Our day is just a sequence of choices. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, it's an ongoing sequence of choices. I have to make a choice here. There's two outcomes. It branches into two. What is my choice? Okay, I'm taking this path. Oh, here's another choice. That branches into two outcomes. Okay, I'm going to make this choice. Go this way. Like, what a beautiful thing. to have the ability to navigate your day that way. And you know what? I'm not perfect either. I don't make the best choices sometimes. I know this. I'm not perfect. But if something was, at the end of the day, if I'm reflecting and I'm like, hey, I'm checking in with myself. How did you do today? How did you walk today? And I got to be honest with myself. Well, you know what? I did this and I didn't really, I don't know, it doesn't sit right in my heart. It doesn't sit right in my brain. Okay, I identify it, but I got to forgive myself. Okay, let's learn from it. And if I can learn from it, then I can, guess what? The choices the next day are a little bit more informed. Nena Bojo, which conseil me gazé, de disnikas, mimi gwense sakne and I spoke naka, mimi gwense sakne roden, nea shigli mimi don jabak. My name to creation is Whistling Eagle. I'm with the Little People clan. The little ones are my ancestors. And I am originally from the Chippewas and Nawash unceded First Nations, also known as Nea Shigni, or the point of land surrounded by water on three sides. And I'm really privileged to be sitting in front of everybody here tonight as, I guess, what's known as a traditional helper, an Oshkosh. To me, that's everything. I come from a family of helpers. I come from a family of storytellers. And I know it's weird now because now like people are calling on me for stories, so I'm still kind of, accepting that within me. But I've been sharing traditional stories since I was a kid. My great grandmother, her name is Nyle Johnston or Najuan. She's now in the spirit world, but she taught a lot of us, a lot of her grandkids, great grandkids, her kids, the traditional stories. And I also had the privilege of learning from another storyteller. His name is Nyle Johnston, a relative of mine. And it was so weird. I didn't know about it at the time. At the time, it was just, I don't know, you don't click into it, but I used to travel around with him on the Bruce Peninsula. We had to do storytelling engagements. And I would kind of be relieved when he needed a break. He was getting older at that time. And I would share stories that he shared with me. And I believe firmly that these stories are everything. In the language, they're not even really called stories. We have a word for them, "Agisokana," which is, if you break down the language, it's not a inanimate thing. It's animate. It's a living thing. When we tell these stories, we acknowledge that they're living and that they're so old. They go back to the time of creation. And that they're so special. I can only speak for the Ojibwe Anishinaabe from the Sakin Anishinaabe Akin territory. I don't speak for all the Ojibwes. I don't speak for all the Anishinaabe. And I sure as hell don't speak for all indigenous people across Turtle Island. I can only speak to the stories and the teachings that I've been taught from my territory, which is the territory of the Bruce Peninsula, just south of Cecily's Reserve. Just south. A little short boat ride. These stories for me really, I don't know, they really helped save my life when I needed them. These teachings and the ceremony and our way of life. I wasn't perfect, and I'll never pretend to be. When I was growing up, especially on the reserve, I was very angry. Yeah, I went to ceremony, I was with the elders and the storytellers, but wasn't all the time. I was angry sometimes. I'm also a day school survivor. I attended St. Mary's Roman Catholic Indian Day School up until it closed in 1996. And just witnessed some really dysfunctional things of how people would treat children and what was, I guess, accepted. And I knew in my heart, even at that age, when I was young, that this isn't the way. This isn't it. And that's when I started seeking out my older family and ceremony. I was so blessed that we had a Medewan lodge set up in my community during the 90s because there wasn't a lot of that going on. And I would go as just a volunteer as a firekeeper. Because for some reason, I didn't feel safe where I was supposed to be being educated. But for some reason, when I was in the forest, we don't call it a forest, we call it the bush. When I was in the bush, I felt safe. I felt loved. I felt like things were paying attention to me. And then again at ceremony, the same thing. Everything seemed familiar. The smell of the sage. I smelt it. It felt, I don't know, it's like home. You hear the drum. I recognized it. It felt safe. It felt inviting. My great grandmother, as with a lot of my family, they attended the Spanish residential school. And my great grandmother knew, and I can't even speak. They did. My grandparents and my great grandmother didn't speak too much about their experience, but somehow she knew in her heart and in her mind that she needs to hold on to the language and she needs to hold on to these stories that were taught to her. And when she came out of that school with all of that courage and with that heart, she still had that language and those stories. And she made it a mission to pass those stories on to us. And she even published a book with traditional stories called Tales of Nokomis. That's how much she believed in it. We weren't supposed to write these stories down. But the generations were getting, it was getting lost. It wasn't our fault. This is what colonization and this is what the residential and the day school and all the scoops, all of it, that's what it was engineered to do. So to have that foresight, to write it down, so that not only her family and grandkids, but the greater population of Ojibwe children could have access to that. And I think of her all the time. I think about that courage and that bravery. Imagine going through those schools and still knowing that she needed to hold on to this. And it was the same thing with Basil. Basil is in spirit world as well. He wrote a lot of books. And when back in, I think it was starting in the 80s, when he started writing these books, he got in so many people lashed out at him, saying that you can't write them down. Don't you do that. You can't share these. The same thing. He went through those schools. He saw what was going on with the loss of language, the loss of culture, and knew that he needed to write it down so that future generations can pick them up. These stories are everything. They are our bridge to the ancestors. They are our bridge to creation. We need to remember our creation stories. They're so beautiful. And they're so valid. And I always say these stories, when people hear stories, I don't even like the word Indian myths. I don't like that. There's so much more than that. They are how we pass on the studies of geometry, mathematics, botany, cosmology, astrology, geography, the study of minerals, like everything is within these stories. And sometimes when I hear these stories, I'm just like, I'm dumbfounded by how, like I say, our ancestors are geniuses, and I believe that they're geniuses. The way that they could connect with creation and I don't know, and pass those stories on, what they observed in the environments around them, how they could spiritually connect with the plant nation, the fish nation, the animal nation. It was beautiful. People ask me all the time, like, how do I start learning? How do I start learning? And I'll always say, go to the stories. It's there. And not only that, not only is it there, but it's like, it's our creation story. So you have every right to reach for those stories. There are creation stories. Nobody can tell you that you don't have the right to learn these stories. I was really lucky that even coming out of the day school, just angry, like, and believe me, I had like, you should have seen when I was growing up. I had a shaved head. My pants were down to almost to the floor. I was listening to like Eminem, and I loved Lil Wayne. I was angry, but I still love Lil Wayne. I'm down to this day, but you would be like, that it doesn't look like you. And I would hold on to that anger and I let it affect different aspects of me. I let it affect how I treated people. I let it affect my school. The reason why I moved off the reserve is because my mom kicked me out of the house because I failed 2 years of high school. I just didn't care. And again, the love of that mother. She did one of the hardest things that any parent would have to do, any mother would have to do, and that would be to send me away. And that's when I moved to Toronto. I was about 15 when I moved to Toronto. I'm still angry. But then I got in contact with the community down here. And I started volunteering at different ceremonies again. Again, it was just like, okay. Started immersing myself in the language again. Anishinaabe Moen. And when I went back to the fire, I knew that's where I needed to be. And that's really was my ticket on my healing journey. I'm still going through my healing journey. It's no destination with me. Like I said, it's an ongoing thing. And again, when, that was late teens, I would be in the community and ceremony community for a while, and then I would fall off. I would disappear and go do my, whatever I needed to do. I would go numb how I needed to numb. And then I would shake it off, like, oh man, this sucks. Go back to the fire. And what's so beautiful is every time that I went back to that fire, or went back to the lodge, the elders were always there, and they would just smile at me. And like, that's enough? I'm like, yeah, I think so. It's like, okay, come. And then I would, again, would fall off and then come back. The same thing. Is that enough? Are you okay? Yeah. Again, this ceremony and this way of life would never turn its back on me. And I was just learning how I needed to learn. I was making my choices. And those elders, I don't know, because they're geniuses, let me make my choices. But always made sure when I came back I was safe. And sometimes when I was in the middle of my anger, my sadness, I shouldn't just say anger, a lot of it was sadness, they would check in on me. Make sure I was okay. Okay is relative to an extent. And then as I got older, I started realizing what choices I needed to make for myself. I started accumulating, I guess, gifts. I was received my name. I went out west and did a fasting ceremony for my clan. Received my colors. Started receiving bits of my bundle. And then taking the time to really learn about it, really connect with it. I was telling a community member today, one of the things that really, I don't know, it shifted everything for me was connecting with my name and really learning my name. Like really learning, fasting over it, doing ceremony. I don't like to say prayer, talking to creation about it, asking for dreams and vision, just really learning what does my name mean? Who am I? What is my identity? My identity. A whistling eagle, a whistling bald eagle. To me, that says so much. And all of our names are like that. I don't know your names or if you have them or if it's within your teachings to get them. But those names are so powerful. And especially when I received a name with bald eagle in it, I realized that that embodies love. The bald eagle carries one of the seven grandfather teachings, and that's the teaching of love. And I really started applying that with myself. Am I being loving to myself? Am I thinking about who I am, Nyle Johnston, in a loving way? Am I walking in a loving way? Am I treating community members in a loving way? Like I always have to put that's my check. I put myself in check. When my ego is running amok, I put myself in check. Hey, are you acting like a bald eagle right now? And I gotta remember that. And I gotta be truthful with myself. Am I being truthful with myself? Can I be honest? No, I'm not really loving right now. We'll switch it up. Because we've gone down that path of sadness, of anger. You've done it now. One of my teachers said, that life you have a PhD in, you're done. Like what more do you have to learn? Go learn something else. That's why I put myself in check. Love is so important. Zogdoin. But even within that word, Zogdoin, there's no real English to explain it. But it's a love that's reciprocated. So remember it. You're not selfish if you protect your love. If it's not being reciprocated. That's not selfish. You're not being mean. You're not arrogant. It's within our word for it, Zogdoin. It's like a love that is reciprocated. I always have to remember that. I can't just pour, yeah, I'm an eagle and I got love and I have a big heart. But I can't just pour it and pour it and pour it and pour it. Because I gotta hold on to some of that for myself and for my family. It took me a long time to learn that. How to even like say no to somebody. How to say no. I know I said choice is a gift. Learning how to say, Colleen, no, that's a gift. And being okay with it. When we come from the Star Road. We're told that we come with a gift. I always think of that when I look at the stars. It's hard to see them in the city, but when I go home, I see them. And then I'll see a falling star. And then I know the gift of a child is coming into this world. There's a story that my great-grandmother told me that exemplifies this. And it's also the creation story of an amazing flower. In 2 weeks, about 2 weeks' time, a little over 2 weeks, we're going to be moving into Wabagwan, Migizis, the flower moon. And we're going to just be in awe of creation around us, with all of the colors, with all of the scents. You'll see all of the indigenous and Western honeybees working hard. Such a beautiful time. Usually with them, I'm born within the flower moon, so I'm a little biased, but the flower moon is so special. I'm a flower baby. I'm a spring baby. And when creation comes alive with that, like that, I'm also an artist. So I see all of the color and the contrast. It just really inspires me, like really reinvigorates me. So I thought it would be fitting, and we can look outside right now, and we'll see the early flowers coming up. If you go up north to my community, the coltsfoot is up. The trout lilies will come up. You're a little bit down here, and you see people planting more western flowers. You see the daffodils came up. And the tulips are just starting to blossom. The snowdrops, those little blue ones, are everywhere. I'm starting to it's nourishing. I acknowledge it. I'm not like, oh, hi, Mr. Flower. I just acknowledge it. Like, thank you. In my head, miigwech. This feels good to look at this. Thank you for that gift of your beauty. Sorry, I'm talking, I get dry. Say a long time ago, long time ago, there was a community of Anishinaabe. And within that community, there was a wigwam. A wigwam is a lodge, a home, a dwelling, whatever you want to call it. English is tricky. There was a wigwam. And in that wigwam, there was a family. And in that family, there was a Nokomis. Nokomis is Anishinaabe Moen for grandmother. And Nokomis had a grandchild. That grandchild was named Southwind. And Southwind must have been about, 5 years old at the time. And when the weather was nice in the spring, summer, and fall, Nokomis would wait for the sun to set and for the stars to come out. And Nokomis would take Southwind just outside the village. You see, just outside the village, there was this big hill. And Nokomis and Southwind would climb to the top of this hill. And they would just look up. Just look at the stars. Now, if anybody knows any 5-year-olds, they're very inquisitive. They have lots of questions. They're always trying to figure things out in their mind. And Southwind looks at Nokomis and says, Nokomis, what are those? Nokomis just looks down and she smiles. She says, my boy, each one of those shining lights is a star. We call them a star. Well, see each one of those look. Each one is a baby in Star World. A baby. Just think of all the questions. Nokomis, I don't understand. And Nokomis just smiled. It was getting a little too late, so they had to go back to the wigwam. Again, every night they would go out and look at the stars. Southwind's looking up and he's trying to figure it out. Was it stars? Was it babies? I don't get this. Nokomis ain't answering me anymore. And then Southwind sees something in the distance. Sees one of those stars falling from the sky. And he's kind of freaked out. It's like, Nokomis, one of those babies fell. He was freaked out. Nokomis, we gotta do something. That baby's gonna get hurt. Nokomis just smiles. He says, no, my boy. You see, tonight, a family is going to receive the very special gift of that baby. And it's going to bring love and happiness, not only to that family, but to that community. He's looking. He's trying to figure it out. Nokomis, am I going to get a baby? Nokomis says, Colin, the water carriers will receive that baby, but you're going to get a gift too. Don't you worry. Everybody gets that gift. So he's a little excited now. You know, the next night they go walking up the hill and he's like double time. He's like running up there. He's looking up and he's looking up. Nothing. He's looking and nothing. He would always see stars falling, but they're always so far. It's getting late. They need to go back to the wigwam. The seasons come and the seasons go. Right now we're in a season of transition, and these transitions run throughout creation. It started getting cold. So cold, and the snow came in and put a blanket on creation. They couldn't go out and look at the stars. I know we got pretty spoiled in Toronto, but most of southern Ontario and central Ontario, they were hit with an ice storm that knocked out towers. My parents were without power. My community, and it was hard. It was hard. We can only imagine back in this time of when the story is set, how hard winter could be. Winter used to be so hard that we would have to prepare ourselves all season for the oncoming winter. Actually, we say, if you ever ask an Ojibwe person how old they are, the traditional way is saying how many winters you survived. You would always give how many winters you survived. Because winters are really hard. This winter that came in was exceptionally hard. It was a very cold one, very dark one. Like I said, the seasons come and the seasons go. Within this winter, Nokomis got sick. Nokomis got so sick that she couldn't even leave her bedding. The seasons shifted. That we say, that winter maker, Bibona quit, receded back to the north. Zigwan, the spring, came back to the land. That warm wind came from the south, melted all of the ice and snow. The south wind, now 6, is walking to the top of that hill at night by himself. Nokomis is too sick to go. One of those nights, Southwind is up there. And he's looking up at the stars, looking for his gift. And he's sad. Sad that there has been no gift for him, sad that Nokomis can't be there with him. It's getting late. He knows he has to go back to his wigwam. If he didn't go back, family it would be like an emergency. He didn't want to startle the community like that. So he starts walking down that hill. And we don't know why, but for some reason, Southwind decided to just kind of glance back over his shoulder. Southwind sees one of those stars fall just on the other side of that hill. And his heart's thumping. He runs up to the top of that hill and he looks down. And it's really dark. It's like, where did it land? I saw it. I know it. It landed just around here. Nothing. Can't see anything. Too dark. So he goes and walks down the other side of that hill. And he kind of notices that there's this pond. So he's standing at the shore of that pond. And he's looking. He's very confused. All he sees are these white little flowers bobbing on the water. He's like, where is it? He's looking. All of a sudden, a little voice calls to him. That voice says, take, I'm your medicine. I'm your gift. Take me. He's kind of scared, kind of startled. Kind of puts his foot into the pond. It's not too deep. So he decides to walk out. And sure enough, in the middle of the pond, there's this little flower calling to him. Take me. I'm your gift. I'm your medicine. So he finally gets to the flower and he goes to pick that flower. And as soon as he touches that flower screams, Kawin, no. You take all of me. All of me. Very confused. Starts feeling underneath the water, and sure enough, there's this big stalk. He holds his breath and goes down. And there's nothing but mud that he's digging up, trying to get the root. Took him about 4 tries. He had to come up for air. But on that 4th try, he finally walks out of that pond, and he's holding this flower, this root, and this stalk. And he's so confused. Like, I don't know what this is. And he has an idea. Nos, my father, he spends a lot of time in the bush, trapping and hunting. He knows the plants. I'm going to go ask him. And so, Southwind walks into this wigwam, walks into their wigwam and hands his dad presents his dad this flower. His father didn't say anything. He took that flower, he cleaned it off, he chopped it up, and he put it in water and built a fire. And he made a tea. And he started giving this tea to Nokomis. And Nokomis started drinking this tea. For 4 days and 4 nights, Nokomis drank that tea. And on the fourth night, Southwind and Nokomis were walking to the top of that hill to look at the stars. And Southwind looking up and says, Nokomis? Yes, my boy. When you were sick, I was still walking to the top of this hill to look at the stars. And Nokomis just smiles. That's good. Nokomis, one of those nights, I received my gift. Nokomis smiles. And he says to her, I don't think that gift was for me. I think that gift was for you. Again, Nokomis smiles. She says, no, my boy. As is the point with all of our gifts, we must share them. We have to share them with our family, with our friends, and with our community. As it was told to me, as it was told to them. Miigwech. That's the gift of the stars. I'm curious to see what some of you thought of that. It's just an open forum that's not slotted in the open forum section. Does anybody know what flower that was? No? We call it the white pond water lily. And if you ever look at the white pond water lily, it looks like a star. And it grows. It's an aquatic flower, and it grows on top. It comes up. And it has little lily pads, when the frogs jump on the lily pads. You've seen them before. A very close relative is the lotus in Eurasia. The lotus flower. On this side of the pond, we have our own version. We call it the white water lily. The traditional name, as I was taught from my territory, is Kundamo. And it actually references that star. That star that came from Starlook. When I was growing up, I heard this story so many times. When I was older, I kept hearing it. And every time that I heard it, I don't know, it's like more things just clicked in me. It's like, yes, this makes sense. So don't think that you have to understand everything all the time. You can sit with it, come to your conclusions, apply your own spirit and intellect to it. Does anybody want to share anything about that story that stuck out? Or if you have any questions, then it's okay to ask. You with your hand up.
Thanks, Chibigwech, for sharing that. I think I've heard this story from you a couple times, and every time I grab something different from it. And I think I've noticed within my own journey the past couple months, like I've been very isolated and felt very lonely. And like what really stuck out to me this time was, the when we all have our own gifts, like it is not like just necessarily our own. It's something that we share with community and like our relatives and all of our kin, which is something that I think like I feel like I've been missing out on. Like it feels like I think in a Western sense, there's like this always this affirmation of like, oh, I have this gift. It's mine. I need to keep it. I need to cherish it. Like not share with others because it needs to be something that I become successful with. And I find it really hard to sometimes change my shift and be like, no, 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 like this gift that I have is meant for everyone. Like it's meant for me to share. It's meant for community to share back. Like that's the purpose of it. So I just wanted to honor that because that really hit me this time.
But you see what I mean? Even if you heard it like 6 times, you're like, damn, you start applying, what you just lived through, your experiences, and then you take the medicine as needed, right? I'm not going to sit there and tell you it's about this and this and this and this and this. Like, it's like, I love it because it really mirrors the methodology of how the Anishinaabe would learn from elder, adult to child. It wasn't, this is it. It's okay to sit in silence. It's okay to have those moments of silence and let creation unfold and show you. It's like how Nokomis, even within the story, you see examples of that. Nokomis would just smile. What's this? Nokomis, grandma, what's this? What's this? Hey, it's beautiful. Smile. Okay, here's a little bit. Let's sit with that for a little while. Let's see what you can discover from that. And we're going to teach you and we're going to show you in a loving environment and be guided through it because if anything happens, we'll be there to make sure that you're okay. Same way that I was taught from those elders. I had to go learn that stupid life, whatever, that sadness and that anger. Okay, they would check in, but I would come back. I needed to learn these things for myself. Just like Southwind in that story needed to learn these things. Yes, and somewhere that is safe. And somewhere that's loving. So we gotta remember that. And if we can remember that when helping others, then we need to remember that when we're helping ourselves as well. Because that's so important. Okay, so nobody knew the flower, so it's a -2. You're not doing very well here. No, I'm joking. White pond water lily is now being heavily funded from pharmaceutical companies. It's a very trendy medicine that they're just pouring resources into now. And they're learning about what that white pond water lily root can do. It's antifungal, anti-tumor. It helps women that have passed with late onset osteoporosis within the elder years. It's antibacterial, antiviral. All of those things I just said, that's some heavy hitters. And modern medicine, Western medicine, is catching up with this. And I always laugh because I say, yeah, you know what, my great-grandma knew that. I always laugh because I'm like, yeah, you know what, our ancestors knew that. Well, how did you know it? It's in the stories. That is the creation story as well of that beautiful kandamo. That white pond water lily. And I think it's around August is when it's in full bloom. And if you get out of the city, there's lots of places, especially around Algonquin, where you can see a big pond of water lilies blossoming at night. And if it's a clear night and you see the stars, and then you look down and you see the reflection in the pond of the stars and the flowers on top of it, you're just like, wow. It's like a portal into Starlight. And you understand how that gift came from that Starlight. and why we even call it like a star flower. It's beautiful. In that story as well, like you were talking about Caitlin, there's my little boy behind me. Of course, holding himself. Go big. We started talking about gifts. I remember the elders always telling me about this. I remember my great grandma saying this when I was younger, and now my grandparents would echo it. They passed on, and now my mom echoes it. It's like, we're all a gift. Don't ever forget that. We're a sacred gift of creation. We're beautiful. And don't ever forget how beautiful and powerful you are and what medicine and gifts that you hold. And my great grandma would say, just like that star coming down from Southwind, those gifts come from the Creator, Yije Manado, the Great Mystery. Those are our gifts. That's a sacred thing to receive one of those gifts. And those gifts come in all shapes and forms. All shapes and forms. But I remember Grandma telling me, everyone has a gift. And like in that story, Southwind had to grab that gift. Southwind had to face those fears. Had to walk into that water by himself at night. To something that's calling to him. That would be freaky. I'd be terrified. And face that fear and reach. And just like that flower told him, you need to take all of me. You take that gift in its whole. And you nurture it. You hold it. You learn about it. Remember, great grandma always told me that. Basil would even echo that as well. Basil said that as well. There comes a point in our life when we come to the realization of our gift. And we need to grab it. We need to take hold of it. We need to hold it and protect it and to nurture it. I always remember, you learn about it. You practice it. But then you need to share it. Like Malcolm has said, as is the point of our gifts, we need to share it. You can't hoard it. You don't hoard it. Hoarding your gift is almost just as bad as, I guess, not even taking your gift. And you share it. Share it with your friends, family, and community. Like I said, that these gifts are special, and everybody is born unique and with their own. I don't know everybody's gifts. But I know when I look at somebody and meet somebody for the first time, I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're one gifted individual. Because that's the way I was taught. Remember Basil, he was kind of upset one time when we were driving back to the reserve. And he would talk about this. That one of the greatest follies that we could do within our lifetime is not share our gifts. And I remember even when he was doing storytellings and teaching me stories, he says, you looked at me. He's like, you do not hoard this. This is not for you to hoard. You share this. Very sternly. Those old people were very stern, very serious. No BS. That you share that. Okay. And that's what I love doing today. I love just sharing what was shared with me because that's what's going to keep it going through the generations. You know, there'll be a time when my kids don't really care about Roblox anymore, and they'll actually listen, and I'll share it with them. And they're going to grow up with it, and they're going to share it forward as well. And it's going to just keep going through time. That's how these creation stories got to us right now. Gifts are so important. As Anishinaabe people, we know that. And they're not to be hoarded. I was always, not always, but I had a teacher that told me that if I hoard my gift too much, I can get sick. Whatever sickness that might look like. Sick in my heart, sadness, feeling unbalanced, sick in my mind, my negativity, or wanting somebody else's gift. If I have that want, then I'm not realizing what my sacred gift is and how beautiful that is. I can look at everybody here and I know, might not know what it is, but I know you all have a gift. Basil would tell us that it usually came around, the realization of this gift came around early teens. They would start realizing their talents. And we had that community around that would see this. The teachers would come forward and help hone that gift. But then again, there comes a time in our life when we become young adults that we need to start sharing that gift. And maybe not every journey is the same. Maybe you're in a place right now where you feel like, you know what, I'm not ready to share it. Which is fine. But let me just tell you, and I learned from experience, that you need to share your gifts at some point. That is our way of the Anishinaabe, the Ojibwe Nation. And that's why you see gifting such a big thing within Ojibwe culture. I don't like to say, I say Anishinaabe and document the Anishinaabe way of life. We gift. I remember going, I was a weird kid. I would walk to the old people's houses, and I loved visiting the elders. And anytime I went in, I don't know, it was because like they gave me like coins, and they always had like soda pop, and they had treats, like those really old people treats that don't really exist anymore, or really hard to find. And I loved them. They would just talk. But again, when I came into their lodge, they presented gifts. Here, do you have food? Do you have something to drink? Here's a couple coins to go get a bag of chips. Back when I was a kid, chips were only like 99 cents, so that was crazy. Here, go get a bag of chips. When you go into ceremony, you'll see people gift. Ojibways were known for that. We share gifts, and that harkens back to that fundamental principle of our life that we need to share our gifts. But like I said, if you need some time to keep it for yourself because where you are on your Mikanak, your road, path of life, then by all means, do what you need to do. You know. Gifts are everything. And believe me, they come in all shapes and forms and colors and smells. It could be, I don't know, you're really good at coding, you're really good at writing, you're really good at, I don't know what your talents are. You're good at like observing aerial patterns and wind density. I don't know. You have your gift. And it's unique to you, and it's so special. It's so special. It's a gift from creation itself. Or what I like to call the great mystery, Gijim Manado. And we gotta remember when we say Gijim Manado, it's weird. When we hear creator, it doesn't really translate to creator. It literally translates to the great mystery, mystery, I guess is a good word. There's no real word for it. And in Western context, we like to personify creator. Like we all, I don't know myself, even if I say creator, I personify it. Remember Basil saying we do not personify Ije Manedo, the great mystery, the source of vision. So when I say that's between you and Ije Manedo, and it's a beautiful gift. And that's what I like to do. Why I think of myself as an Ashkabe was today. I was so fortunate to receive so many gifts in my journey. Drums, medicines, teachings, lodge, pipes, feathers, this, that, otter tails, all of it. But what am I going to just sit there and keep it in a bag? Or am I going to try to the best of my abilities to use them as tools to help share stories and teachings? Why do you want to do that, Nyle? I don't know, because it really helped me when I was struggling. It's what I know. It's a part of my wisdom. Not my knowledge, my wisdom. Wisdom and truth is life experience. I can only speak on my life experience. Yeah, it helped me. Let's see if it helps somebody else if they hear stories. I don't know. Hey, let's see if it helps if we teach people how to smudge. Let's teach some language. I don't know. I know it saved my life numerous times. So I'm just trying to pass on what I know. And also what Basil said too, because like he looks so stern. He's like, "Don't you dare hoard this." I was like, "Oh boy." I was only like, what, 8? 9? Okay. I didn't sound like I was okay. But I get it now. I'm still learning. I'm coming into my 40th winter. I'm starting to like understand. It's like it was all for a reason. Some of the narratives sucked. Some of the narrative I wish I had a do-over, but you know what? Yeah. It's my journey and I love it. There's my little boy. That's how beautiful these gifts are. And don't ever downplay your gifts. I can't say don't, I'm just letting you know. You're going to make your own. Remember I was talking about choices? You're going to make your own choice, but don't ever think your gift is less than. And don't ever be afraid to use your gifts. And especially if we have young children in our life, they're gifts. They're gifts from the stars. They have so much to teach us. And I have to remember that myself. Sometimes I'm struggling. Always right there. Sometimes if the day's not going good and I'm struggling, I can feel the way I talk is turning threatening. I'm not very patient. And I remember my mom. Breathe, my boy. They're gifts. Just learn. Listen. It's okay. And why I shared that is because I apply that and when my mikan, my path, throws me a challenge, just breathe. Okay, this sucks. I can acknowledge that. I didn't want this to happen today. I don't go, why? Why is it happening to me? Okay, this sucks. I acknowledge it. But let's breathe. Let's be patient with my thinking and my heart to truly understand to the best of my ability what's going on here so I can effectively make choices. And I won't ever say to somebody, this is a bad choice, this is a good choice. It's a choice. Good and bad are relative. I don't have the right to speak on that. These are some things that I do. Even within that story, it was a creation story of a flower that was a very strong medicine, a medicine that we still use to this day. It sucks to harvest it. It's hard, but that's another story for another time. But Creator, well, I did it. The great mystery, Ijimanado, provides us with all of these medicines. The mother of creation, Namkumakasinikwe, under the earth's rock limit, provides us with all of these medicines. And we got to remember that they're ours to use, and that it's okay to use them. It's okay to use your sponge. You know what, but I heard it was 4-day protocol, this, that. It's okay to pick it up. Use your medicines. The medicines are there when you need them most. If you're having a hard time, think about mashkiki. We say that's the word for medicine. It comes from two words, mashkijuan, strength, aki, earth, the strength of the earth. That's the translation of medicine, mashkiki. Know that those plants have that strength, and they're there for you. Just like that white pond water lily root and Nokomis being sick. These plants don't want to see us suffer. They are our relatives. Use that smudge when you need. Pick up that sage. Misko Bijiki Mishkiki. That medicine from the West. And think about that sage. If anybody, I'm a nerd when it comes to botany. The way that sage grows in the prairies, it's a rhizome root, so it sends out one long root, and then a bunch of then it shoots up a bunch more. So if you were to pick it, and you know what, you're not harvesting it in the right way, and you might rip the root. When you rip that root, it actually sends a hormone to that rhizome root to actually keep going, to start producing more. Like, it's just so strong. If you in the prairie and you step on one of those stalks of sage, it'll lay down. In a couple of days, you'll go back and you'll see it right back up. It's a resilient medicine. And I think of that when I use these medicines, when I talk to these medicines, to the sage. I think of that strength. I think of that resiliency. I think how it gave its life to be here with me and to help me. Starting to think about the medicines this way started a new path of like connecting with them. Really connecting with them. Like I said, it's the strength of the earth. Well, guess what? We're of the earth. I'm a child of the first mother of creation. If you look at my body, you'll see everything that's in my body in the earth. I'm mostly 70 to 80% water. My blood contains iron. All of the minerals that make up this earth, the water, the chemical properties, they all make up me. So I got to remember that I'm medicine too. I have that strength of the earth. So if I know that I am of this earth and I hold that strength and that I have access to medicines, then I know I can get through some of life challenges. Just fundamental things that really help me. And sometimes people smudge and they're not even mindful of what they're doing. Take that time, connect to the medicine, petition to that medicine. When I say petition, it doesn't mean be like, oh, say that. Just like think in your good mind. Please help me. Like really start connecting with it. Because like I said, that medicine is you too. It's wild, our body. Absolutely amazing. Did you know that our brain is like water and electricity? Did you know that? That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. You know what's crazy? What would happen if I went and poured a glass of water on some electrical wires? I go zap. But it's happening right now in my mind, in this beautiful organ that we call a brain. Electricity and water and brain synapses. You know we have a butterfly in our throat? Has anybody ever seen the thyroid gland? Look at it, it looks like a butterfly. And that thyroid gland brings balance to our hormones. It does a lot of things for the body. But one thing that I love to think of, you ever look at a butterfly, symmetry is so beautiful within it, which teaches me of balance. So when I think of that butterfly, I think of that balance. And how it's helping me bring balance to my feelings, my emotions. You know we have a cedar tree in the back of our head? It's a brainstem. If you ever look at the brainstem, you'll see it looks like a white cedar, Thuja oceanialis. It's fascinating. If you look at our lungs, they look like upside down poplar trees. This stuff fascinates me. It's beautiful. When we look at our veins, we have river systems flowing through us. Again, to me, that's fascinating. And then I start remembering, yes, I'm the strength. I'm the strength of the earth. And all of creation is rooting for you. All of creation is working together, even within my body, to keep me in balance and to help me experience life and all the ups and downs. Your parking session is ending soon. 10 minutes.
I'm just gonna risk it now.
You go risk?
30 minutes.
A notification, sorry, a notification came up from on somebody's computer. The notification says your parking is expiring.
Oh.
And she's like, I don't care. This is native land. All right. I had an opportunity to share this with one of the community members that are here tonight, and a couple other community members that are here have heard this before, but I'm going to say it again, and we love speaking on our items, because our items teach us so much. In Anishinaabe moment, we call this a dawagan. Again, I can't say like it means drum. Like English doesn't really work with Anishinaabe Moen, Ojibwe. Ojibwe is such a poetic language. And if you have the chance to learn some Ojibwe, do it, because you can really see the world view within the language. When you say Dawagan, drum. It sounds so boring. It's more than just a drum. Again, if we look at the word Dawagan, it implies that it's animate. It's not inanimate. It's living. It's a living instrument. It holds spirit. That's why when we speak to our drums, we acknowledge them as grandfathers. We acknowledge them as grandmothers. You see those big drums, people call them grandfather drums. We acknowledge them as those old relatives, because in our language, and I shouldn't just say in our language, they are. In that word, the root of the word again is ode. Ode is the word for heart. You hear that word show up in Dawagan. If I was to expand it, it would be Odawagan. De. Dewagan. Something, an instrument that resonates the sound of the heart. That is made. It can keep going. Like I'm saying, English is funny. So I acknowledge the Dawagan as not only as an instrument, not only as a spirit, but something that can resonate the sound of the heart. And it's true. Resonate that sound of the heart. So to me, this drum represents myself too. That Dua again has another side. And people don't really talk about this side. This is the Bavishkan. Easiest way to translate the word is like the binds, the ties that hold things together. The Babishkan. You'll see Babishkan in many different places, like snowshoes. You ever seen the old snowshoes? Not the mountain equipment co-op ones, but the old ones. That's a Babishkan. And I always think about our gifts. And I think about my family, and I think about my community and the way that it used to be. Each one of these would represent a community member. There's many different teachings you can go on to the Babishkan. Each of these would represent a community member. And if each one of these this one community member right here came to the realization of their beautiful sacred gift and walked that path of life long enough to get to a point where they want to share it with their community, it's shared with the entire community. If all of these strands, community members, all harnessed the power of their gifts and brought them to the benefit of the community, the community has a healthy heartbeat. It's living. It's thriving. I wanted to talk about the Babishkan just to show you how important these gifts are. And like I said, maybe you're feeling like it's not the time to share your gift. But I'm just going to let you know that with the old, like all I can do is speak truth. My truth. The old people would warn me, don't you hoard your gift. It's so beautiful, and you have so much to share with your community. That's our responsibility as Anishinaabe. Anishinaabe, that sacred being that descended from the stars. It's beautiful. Wow. Ojibwa's got the gift of gab. I just looked at the clock. I think we're going to open it up to the open forum section of the evening. Sorry, I'm handing it back to the moderators.
Yes. Oh, Chimigwech, thank you. Before we open up to like the folks online, very big thank you to Nyle for sharing this evening. I know I've recently just been reconnecting personally on my journey, so like hearing these stories are always so powerful and like important to me. And I guess folks who also joining us online, I can't speak for everybody, but super grateful to be in these spaces where growing up I didn't hear any of these. So like learning them later in life is super important to me, and like hearing the stories like once or twice or three times and moving on, I think you always, like we were saying earlier in our session this evening, is that you always pull out a different piece of information with you just based on where you are in your journey of life at that time. So I really can't speak for everyone, but feel super grateful just to be here this evening with everybody and to have Nyle with us. To go into the open forum, I can start off with a question, kind of just listening through this evening. I was recently like in like a circle with like James Carpenter, like at school, and like he talked a lot about like noise, like getting like on us as like Indigenous people, and like what does that sound like negative noise, and hearing this evening about like gifts and like stories, and like I guess my question would be like how can you like block out that negative noise to be able to actually like see your gifts?
When I think of noise, I just think of like stuff,
Mm-hmm.
distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like we live like I don't know, living in a colony
Mm-hmm.
as Indigenous people, like it's no joke, you know. And like especially if you live or just living in 2025 with rent, the cost of food, you know, basic things. When I think of like basic needs, you need shelter, you need food, you need access to water, you know, and it seems like everything's like such a hustle these days. And so it's almost like you're fearful of taking that time for yourself to find quiet and retreat so you can clear some of that noise. But there's no better thing that you can do. Like one of the ways I make sure I get out of the noise is like I'm a smoker and I go for a cigarette first thing in the morning and I make it a point not to go on my phone. I do not open social media. I do not look at my notifications. I just have like a couple breaths, you know, go, and sometimes I even forget there. Like, then I just don't care about it. And then I go and have a coffee, and my day starts. I'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't even checked my notifications yet. But taking those moments, you see what I mean? Maybe you need to do that at night. Just like, just shut it down and enjoy, I don't know, watch a show that makes you happy. Listen to something that makes you happy, something that feeds you. Because I can tell you right now, like, social media can be like such a cesspool of negativity and it creates noise. It can be such a cesspool of jealousy. You might have jealous thoughts. Now you know you're doing it. Like, I want that. I don't look like that. Why is this person doing that? Just all these judgmental things. So it's just like, just stop it. And train yourself to like be okay with those moments of quietness. Like I said, like maybe read a book or watch, even like watch a stupid show. Something for you, even if it's like silly, you know. But what would really help me with that is that morning routine. Like, you know what, this is my time. And if I'm just sitting there and just looking at the clouds and like, it's like, I don't know, then I start talking to creation. Like, oh, you know what, maybe I strength for this day. You know, it's beautiful. Enjoy my time. Some people are just like to the like, it's what I'm considered open. You just really hone in that the only noise I want at that time is right now. What my favorite things to do is listening for new bird calls as migratory birds come back. That's it. Anyway,
Thank you. Um, Does anyone online or anyone else in the room have any questions for Nyle?
I have a question. It's more like a general question, I guess, but I feel like you kind of explained this before, but I guess it's more personal. Like, how do you sort of decide what you're going to speak on when you come to these things? I feel like you mentioned it before, and I said the gift of gab, but like it seems so like purposeful, and it seems to be very like obviously everybody can connect to it in some sort of way. But are there things that you draw on from like during the week, or is it like when you meet everybody and you decide then and there?
it's so funny. But for the people in little Kyle land, my partner's here, and I do presentations with her all the time. And sometimes like I'll just wing it. I don't think. I try to let it come from the heart. And I remember about who I am. I'm a whistling eagle. Like, I'm gonna use that whistle. Like, use that whistle and trust in yourself. It's not the best method and it doesn't work for everybody, but if I tend, like, if I do research and I make a list and I have to hit this notes, I find that it's more of an intellectual conversation where I'm trying to like hit this. Whereas if I just come in as my true self and let my heart be open, I get out of this and I come from here. Or it's more easily connected, which means I'm connecting my spirit to my intellect. Right? I don't know, some people get upset with me because I just do it. I don't know, and there's intuition with it too. I kind of just feel in the moment. You know, this morning, I shouldn't say nothing, but like this morning I did a sunrise ceremony. It's like, hey, you know what, I'm doing this today, and I'm going to help guide me. Didn't ask for like, oh, help me with this. I'm like, just, you know what, just be there, ancestors, guide me. You know. And, yeah. And I just kind of let go. I want to have fun. Remember the old people when they'd be doing traditional storytelling? Like, sometimes, like, they were just fun. And, like, I don't know, man. They would crack jokes, and you're just like, what the? And they would just laugh at themselves, and then keep going with the story. I'm like, what the hell? So, that's my message. It doesn't work for everybody.
Thank you. I think I've asked a question too.
I didn't even know I could talk for an hour and a half.
Okay, so the question is, do you know any teachings on the crow or what it means to see one?
There's teachings not only on the crow, but also the raven.
Mm-hmm.
Are you specifying which one? Or is it specifically the crow andak? There's andak, which is the crow, and then kagege, which is the raven.
It could be either. I'm not great at like seeing birds and like knowing them off by sight, but it's one or the other.
I don't know, that's a story for another time. There's lots to that. And to me, it's not negative. They're not negative. They're not like dark and this and that. Like they're, like I said, the children of creation. They're my relatives. And yes, we have things to learn, and there might be some things that we need to do, but you know, that's just the way it is. It's like owls. Like owls scare a lot of the Ojibwe. Like you don't talk about owls at ceremonies. You know, my mother's owl clan. We have teachings about the owl from where I'm from. It's related to the bird nation. Bird nations are related to the thunderbirds. Like it's all, I don't know. You know, so, but I would say that, don't get me going on that, we'll be here till like 10. Learn the difference, good first step, learn the difference between a crow and a raven. So when you look at them, you can identify which one you're looking at. And then both make different calls as well. But there's stories about the crow, creation stories of the crow and creation stories of the raven. I'll leave it at that. Did your hand up again? You just didn't put it down.
I know, I feel like I have someone. Oh, there we go. That's cute.
I'm just trying to be respectful, you know? I feel like I'm in a meeting right now. I got no Nikki's over there.
She's behind the laptop.
I can feel her scowling, like... oh no. Okay. I guess for me, I mean, folks on the team, and I'm okay with disclosing a little bit, I have some health concerns with the body. And lately I've been trying to recover from post-concussion, and within the past year I've been doing a lot of learning and growth between like learning about like the body and like body being of land and like how the body is a sacred vessel. Something that I really struggle with, but I think you brought light to it with what you're sharing. I don't know, it just really resonated with me talking about like the river of veins, like talking about like the thyroid and like the idea of balance. Like, how do you think some of those teachings or those ways in which we think about the body can help some of us who deal with like chronic health, and sometimes it can be hard to appreciate the body when it feels like the body's against us.
Also, I'm going to pump the brakes here because now we're crossing into the line of doctoring, and I haven't earned my right to do that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just want to completely just kind of, and I think one of the, if I was having these ailments, I would seek out this person, and we both know them.
Yeah, okay. No worries.
Who I've been a helper to and watched in real time, over and over and over again. Him helping, using medicines to really help people.
Awesome.
Okay?
Yeah, Chimigwech.
What?
You just won't speak on it at all.
It's not like I've ever been like learning about it my whole life. Redacted.
I'm good. Thank you for sharing today. It was really insightful for me. Some things did speak to me as well that I'm probably not going to share today, but maybe another time. But really appreciate it. I'm really happy that I joined this evening's Chimigwech.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Like, the old people would do that. They would just kind of like sit with it. You don't need an answer or feedback right away. It's like, what do you think? I find city folk need answers right away.
True. Yeah, we do.
You haven't responded to this email in 2 days. You're like, I haven't even read it yet, man.
As per my last email, please respond.
Well, that was amazing stuff. Like, really, like I said, really an honor to be here to share. And if anybody wants, I think I'm going to be doing some more traditional counseling sessions and things like that as well. I'm going to be helping with the next bundle. And ceremony season is starting up. So I'm going to be helping at the Moon Lodges as a firekeeper, and also with different sweat lodges and different things like that. So definitely everybody keep in touch if you want to. I saw your text doing a traditional closing.
Great, I'm glad. Everyone's so connected.
Does anybody have anything they want to share before we close it up?
I just wanted to say, thank you for, just sharing and just, I don't know, I'm just appreciative to be able to join online today and just sit with everything. I think, not growing up with teachings or, really connected to the culture, I've just kind of been, I guess, in my own head, in my own way, on my path and on my journey. And I think kind of just, pointing out, the small things and what you said, taking time for yourself, that really resonated with me, where it's just, quieting the noise that we live in a society, or that we are in life, is just really important. I think that's a great reminder. Thank you.
Good. I'll hand it back over to the.
Well, no. No, that's why we're that was from Wildly.
Alright.
Hey, thanks for everybody for sharing their time during dinner time too, because I'm hungry. I didn't see none of y'all eat either. My sugars.
Been here all day too.
Yeah, all day.